In this test, we are going to be talking about descriptives and frequencies. Your descriptives and frequencies will be placed into a heading in your project called the preliminary analysis. The preliminary analysis is a focus on the participant's background information, tells the reader who and what the participants' characteristics are as they were reported in the demographic survey. I want to remind you that this is done in a template form. Everything you're going to do in terms of the tests are all in a template form. All you have to do is follow the template and put the numbers and the words in the right place, and this is a very easy project. They must be completed exactly like the template or you get marked down, so be careful and take time to proofread everything that you get. So a little more background on this. You do a preliminary analysis all the time. Every time you fill out a survey, you put your name, your address, your phone number, whatever it is that you're putting down, that gets put into a database. Well, your database is coming from your demographic survey. Your demographic survey tells a lot about your participants, tells the age, the community they lived in, whatever questions you're asking. So if you're asking how many times you shoot out of 10 free throws, how many did you make on the first and the last? Well, you need to have a little more background. That's what that demographic survey does. This demographic survey makes sense after you've already done your data, because you're going to be looking back at it. How long have you played basketball? How many free throws do you shoot in a week? Have you ever taken a class in basketball? Have you ever played basketball competitively? Are you on a team now? Any of those questions can weigh heavily, and they fall into a yes/no category. They fall into a range questions like how many years have you played basketball? 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, or and 16 plus. That's like a multiple choice question. Yes/no question is pretty self-explanatory. Then you have ones that are just numbers. How many years have you played basketball? 9 years. 1 year, 2 years. Are you a recruited athlete? Yes or no? There's lots of ways you can ask the questions that will garner an answer that you'll be able to use later on. But you've got to be able to understand how many of each of the categories there are, and that sometimes helps to tell the story. And a lot of this is telling a story. You're looking for an outcome and an analysis that gives you a reason why this certain event is happening in the way it is, but you're really telling a story in the background of the participants that you're holding on to. So let's get into the descriptives. This is a command in SPSS when you run. Bottom line is that it's all about a number, a physical number. So your age, how many years have you played volleyball? How many years have you played basketball? How many teams have you played on? It's going to be a physical number. And when it's reported, it's going to be in, and we're going to show this a little in the next section of how it shows up in the output. Minimum, maximum, it's going to come out as a mean and the standard deviation. Remember, your mean is the middle number. It's the arithmetic average, and your standard deviation is how far away, the number that's given is how far away from that mean are most of the scores. Frequencies are items that are reported in words. Nominal, we talked about this in the central tendencies. Nominal means words. Okay, so examples of frequencies that are race, white, black, Asian, Pacific Islander; gender, male and female; community, rural, city, city, large city, small city; yes/no questions. Have you ever made 5 free throws in a row? Yes or no. And multiple choice questions, which could be a range like 0 to 1, like we talked about before, or it could be something, any kind of we call those multiple choice questions. Gender and community are not really questions because they didn't come from a real question. Each of these items go to the background of what you're doing in your project, and when you get your data and how you're going to run it against them. Your descriptives come out in the in a range category with a minimum, a mean, and a standard deviation. Well, your frequencies are just a little different. Your frequencies come out in a percentage. So there'll be a percentage for there'll be a number of, let's say you had for gender, you had 15 males and 14 females. Okay, that gives you a grand total of 29, and then you're going to have for each of the for the 15 you're going to have a percentage, and for the females you're going to have a percentage. And the yes no questions are the same way. Same with the community. It's going to give you a number and that. So let's get into the actual data for your homework. Okay, now this is a workup, and this is in the stat manual. Okay, this is what your output will look like. Let's say for race, this is pressure, this is community, this is socioeconomic. Okay, and then in a little bit we're going to talk about the write-up itself. So we're going to look at the descriptives right here. Okay, and that will go to, and you'll understand this a little better when you go to do your write-up. Okay, this will be available to you. So if you look at the write-up here on the left, the first line is how many participants you have. Now you can add in how many male and female you have if you like. Okay, this was all male students. So you could say the participants included 47 male and female students, 40 males and 7 females. That's up to you. Okay? In this one, all the participants were members of the same high school football team. You notice that it doesn't say anything about where exactly they are. It's not San Diego Christian College. It's not Cal State Fullerton. It's only place it is it's a football team. You can say from Southern California, San Diego area. You don't want to let anybody try to find your participants. It's called being anonymous. Okay, so we know that the range for the age is from 14 to 37 here, and a mean of 20.8. So the participants' age ranged from 14 to 37 with a mean of 20.8 and a standard deviation of 4.20. You always round to the hundredths place, so 4.20. Okay, and then the standard deviation goes in right in here. SD is italicized, space equals, and then you'd put in 4.20. Now this is years to performance. How many years they performed. This group went from 1 to 19, mean 18.8, and 5.15 is that. So your next sentence would look just like the age one, except you change it to the years to performance. Okay? You can even say it's years performing, and you'll be fine. Okay, and then you're going to move into your frequencies. You see there's male and female here. Race. So this is race. And it always goes from big to small. So your rotation would be white would be 20, and then you'd have Asian, black was 11, and then you go to other, and then Latino, and then Asian and PI, or PI and Asian, whatever it is. And you notice it goes, so we go 20, and then in the parentheses you'd find 50%, 50.0% of the participants were white, comma, and then next one will be 11, 27.5 were black. All these are all capital, first letter capitalized, and you just go all the way through. So now the next one is community, and community is down here, and you got, all you have to do is after the next sentence is it would be 14, and then it would be 35% participants lived in a small town, and then you just go through the rest, and then here's economic. Okay, and you do the same thing. And that is your whole write-up for this. Now this goes directly to what you're going to be doing in your project. This is your homework. So you're going to finish take the frequencies doc, and you're going to model it just like this. Don't send me this one on this side. The write-up I already did with the colors. Don't color code it. Don't do anything. Take it when you send it in, it doesn't have any color coding. Color coding shows you, if you go back to study it, you can say, okay, the white folks, I go back down here to the white folks, I find there was 2% of the white folk. Okay? And that's where you find that, and you put that in there. Okay, so the color coding goes to what exactly where it should go in the report. And that's it. You then copy and paste this in, or depending on which class you're in, you take this and you either send in the file or you copy and paste it in as online text, and you're done with your homework for this week. When it's time to do your project, you're going to run your numbers in SPSS, and then you're going to come back and you're going to write your participants up in the same exact manner. So you've done it. You have done it twice. Practice makes perfect. Thank you.